On the day Ji Chengzhi obtained the imperial decree for Yu Yinyin to become my co-wife, I drank poisoned wine and ended my life in the back courtyard. Thus, Su Yan, the capital's most notorious jealous woman, vanished as everyone had wished. When I opened my eyes again, I had become Song Yang, the legitimate daughter of the Song family, a woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to myself. Rumors spread throughout the capital that Ji Chengzhi, overcome by grief for his deceased wife, had nearly followed me in death. Yet through 5 years of shared hardships, I knew he had never truly loved her. His displays of affection were mere pretense, meant only for the outside world. Until one day, a matchmaker arrived at the Song residence, brimming with excitement. "Great news! Your daughter bears an uncanny resemblance to the late Lady Ji. Lord Ji wishes to propose marriage." Main text: I politely instructed a servant to pour the matchmaker a cup of tea. She sipped it, then continued her torrent of words to Father Song, who is Magistrate Ji. The entire capital knows him, a young prodigy, master of both literature and martial arts, rising to the position of Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at such a young age. His late wife passed away half a year ago. Your family, having just arrived in the capital, may not know, she was the cherished daughter of General Su. The Su family, renowned for their loyalty and valor, had only this one orphan daughter left. The emperor bestowed a marriage upon her and Magistrate Ji. Yet, for reasons unknown, she met an untimely end in her prime. Lord Ji was overcome with grief, nearly following her in death. He even sought out spirit summoners, scouring the land for sorcerers. But once a soul departs, how could it ever return? Your family's roots in the capital are still shallow, such a match would normally be beyond your reach. But Miss Song, having accumulated great virtue in her previous life, possesses such striking beauty that she bears an uncanny resemblance to Lady Ji. By marrying into the family, she might just become the legitimate wife. Father Song choked on his drink. The legitimate wife. Are you certain? You mean Lord Ji Chengzhi, the Minister of Justice? He had only been transferred from Jiangzhou to the capital half a year ago. Past 50, he held merely the position of compiler in the Hanlin Academy, a lowly 7th-rank official. Of course! However, Lord Ji has only heard of Miss Song's appearance. He may still wish to meet her in person before. Father Song immediately agreed, of course, of course. I'll take my daughter to meet him whenever Lord Ji is available. I don't want to. My voice cut through their words sharply. Matchmaker Zhang froze, while Father Song's face darkened. Nonsense. This is a parental decision, your wishes don't matter. Lord Ji wants you. Even if it's not as his legitimate wife, being his concubine is already a great fortune. My expression remained impassive. Father, if you desire this match so fervently, perhaps this blessing should be yours instead. We bear a strong resemblance, perhaps he would find you to his liking. Moreover, does our nation's law permit the Minister of Justice to forcibly seize a commoner's daughter? What kind of law-breaking is this? As a woman confined to the inner quarters, meeting with a stranger would ruin my reputation. Is resemblance alone sufficient grounds for marriage? Is His Majesty aware of his reckless behavior? Do the officials know? Do the people know? Shall I go to the palace gates and beat the drum, letting everyone witness this absurdity? Father Song stood frozen for a moment, then raised a trembling finger. Rebellious daughter. Lord Ji cherishes you deeply, that's why he took notice of you. I sneered coldly, his deep affection has nothing to do with me. Father, you empathize with him so much, no wonder people say you've favored your concubine over your wife for years. Should I beat the drum and expose that too? Song Yang! Father shouted. Don't slander your father. Oh, how wrong of me. Father is always just, how could he possibly favor a concubine over his wife? I clapped my hands, and several servants from the main courtyard immediately dragged a woman forward. Father! Save me! My sister is trying to kill me. Song Shishu's hairpins trembled wildly as she wept, her tears falling like pear blossoms. Half a year ago, on the journey to the capital, it was she who had pushed Song Yang into the lake. Father Song roared, "What is this nonsense?" I replied, "Sister cries injustice, father is fair, let us examine both sides." Matchmaker Zhang perked up her ears at once. I tossed the severed venomous snake onto the ground, then methodically produced the other pieces of evidence from my sleeve. This snake was found in my room. Your maid and the snake vendor have confessed, here are their statements. The silver you used to buy the snake came from the household's public accounts, here's the proof. At the time of the incident, you were lurking suspiciously around my quarters, here are the testimonies from household witnesses. Song Shi's eyes widened, and her father froze. According to the law, this constitutes premeditated murder. Should I submit all evidence to the authorities, the punishment ranges from 100 strokes of the cane and exile to execution by beheading as a public warning. I turned to her father. I trust you will uphold justice and support your daughter in handing this matter over to the authorities. Her father trembled, as if a lump had lodged in his throat. Could it be a misunderstanding? Humph. I cleared my throat. Another servant brought up Lady Lan. Master! Help me! The young mistress locked us both in overnight. I'm dying! I'm carrying your child in my old age. She collapsed on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. This time, Father Song erupted. Song Yang! You dare defy me! Who gave you the right to take the law into your own hands? This household isn't yours to rule. Untie her at once. Father, perhaps you should review the household accounts first. These are the details of unexplained expenditures during Lady Lan's stewardship. The scale of the losses exceeds even that of a household thief. The money Song she spent on snakes was also authorized by her. It's no exaggeration to call her an accomplice. As for the child, I sipped my tea with a smile. Dr. Zhang came every 3 days to check her pulse. Each time, the concubine dismissed the servants. These visits lasted anywhere from a stick of incense to an entire hour. The medicine he prescribed for father contained a child-terminating powder. Need I explain what that does? Oh, here's the residue as evidence. Also, I sent men to find Dr. Zhang yesterday. He's already fled. Auntie Lan paled. Master! No! Lalan is innocent. Don't listen to her slander. Matchmaker Zhang cracked sunflower seeds with a loud crunch. Father Song's face turned deathly pale as he stared in shock at each piece of evidence, his expression growing increasingly grim. Finally, just as I thoughtfully brought the medicinal residue closer, he sniffed it, his eyes rolled back, and clutching his chest, he collapsed with a thud. Matchmaker Zhang gasped, "The master has been driven to his death." Rest assured, miss. It's merely a sudden surge of anger. He'll recover with rest. The physician, who had been waiting outside the door, calmly entered and administered acupuncture. I blew on my tea and lifted my eyelids. Carry him away. Let my father rest. Banish Lady Lan and her daughter from the household. Hand them over to the authorities along with all the evidence. With the matter settled, the hall fell silent once more. I pulled out a pouch of silver and walked toward Madame Zhang. Her eyes darted about. Rest assured, young mistress. I shall report that you act with decisive efficiency, truly fit to be the mistress of this house. Wrong. I said I have no interest in the position of wife to the Minister of Justice. A lowly family, spoiled and willful, disrespectful to elders, airing family scandals in public, I slapped the silver coins into the matchmaker's hand. You saw what you saw, that's what you should report. As Zhang the matchmaker left, the look she gave me was still thick with confusion. I took the storeroom key to the main courtyard and handed it to Mother Song. I'm reclaiming the household authority. Since you've resolved to be a proper matriarch, keep it well and never give it to another. After setting the keys down, I rose to leave. Yu Yinyin, do you still blame me? I turned back. Truthfully, I had little to blame her for. For all these years, it wasn't me who was bullied by the concubine and younger sisters, neglected and ignored until I drowned in the lake. It was the real Song Yang. Mother Song had indeed suffered misfortune and pain. Her childhood sweetheart was torn apart by her father, forcing her into the Song household, forcing her to bear a son and daughter. Resentment always lingered in her heart. Thus, she bore children but neglected them, ignored household duties, and remained distant and cold toward Father Song, spending most of her days in the small Buddhist shrine. Yet while she prayed for that man to be her husband again in the next life, her son was deliberately raised into an uneducated, dissolute wastrel. Her daughter had her monthly allowance and meals withheld, living a life akin to a maid's, forced to curry favor with her half-sister just to survive within the mansion. Song Yang was a kind-hearted girl. Though her youth was spent largely in survival, she still found empathy for her mother, her father, and her elder brother. "It's all in the past," I said, turning back with a calm voice. "I hope you can find peace and live well from now on." Stepping out of the main courtyard gate, I saw Song Chu hurrying towards me. "I heard you sent both Song Shi and Auntie Lan away." I looked up. "Does that bother you?" He scratched his head. "What are you saying, Yang Yang? You've been warning me about them for half a year. If I still couldn't see their true colors, I'd be a complete fool. They deliberately had that singer cling to me to distract me from my studies. I was blind before, actually treating them like my mother and sister. But when I first entered the gate, I met that matchmaker Zhang. She sighed and lamented that you rejected Magistrate Ji Chengzhi of the Supreme Court. Magistrate Ji is a true dragon among men. Not only do countless girls in the capital admire him, but I've long held him in high esteem myself. And you bear such a striking resemblance to his wife? This is a blessing sent by heaven." "A blessing?" I cut him off. "Marrying into a prestigious family is a blessing? Does the Song family's prosperity depend on you passing the imperial exams? On father striving for advancement? Or on me marrying well? Are you all useless? Relying on a woman to bring honor to the family?" He took a step back. "Scold them if you must, but I've been so obedient these past 6 months, please don't scold me. So tell me, who do you wish to marry? I'll find him for you." My mouth opened, but no sound came out. I still remember clearly, before father and brother left for their final campaign, brother got drunk and pulled me close, saying, "Yin Yin, when you marry someday, don't seek a man for his high rank or power, nor for his handsome looks. Listen to your brother, find someone who has you in his heart, who is all yours, who treats you well, very, very well." But I never listened. I chose a man both high in rank and power, and strikingly handsome. Yet he was indifferent, had no place for me in his heart, and treated me poorly. After a long silence, I said, "But Lady Ji doesn't have a good reputation in the capital. Ji Chengzhi never truly loved her. This marriage was forced upon him. Even when she was alive, she kept his bed empty, their bond as cold as ice, worse than our own parents. Raised on the frontier, she had no friends in the capital. Years ago, she became the laughingstock of the nobility, dubbed the capital's most jealous woman after some scandal." Song Chu froze. "No way. Everyone says Lord Ji and his wife were deeply devoted. They're both dead now. He held high office, who would speak ill of him? Better to say they were deeply devoted." Song Chu gasped. "Ah. So the Ji family is untouchable? He didn't like her, and you look just like her, how could he ever like you? But where did you hear all this?" "I've never heard any of it." "I don't know either. Those stories everyone used to chew over are suddenly hushed up now. Maybe it's out of respect for the dead. Over tea and plays, overheard an idle chatter, I replied casually. Song Chu nodded and soon returned to his studies. I lifted my head and sighed deeply. Half a year ago, two lonely souls met. Song Yang entrusted her body to me and asked me to fulfill 3 wishes. That mother would find strength, brother would strive for success, and that aunt and Song Chu would face punishment. I have finally completed them all. At least I haven't lived in vain in this body. Lost in thought, a dark shadow suddenly swept across the eaves. In that instant, my heart lurched. Having been married to Ji Chengzhi for 5 years, I was familiar with certain matters concerning the Ji family. For instance, when it came to scaling walls and roofs with such skill, none among the Ji family's shadow guards could match him. 3 days later, Miss Chen Yu of the Chen family invited me to a tea house to watch a play. This play is absolutely brilliant. Since you didn't come out the other day, I've already seen it twice. She chattered, cracking sunflower seeds. I hadn't slept well these past days, but Chen Yu was in high spirits, talking non-stop. It's the hottest romance play right now. It's about a woman who breaks ties with her family for a man she loves, but he doesn't cherish her. Later, he regrets it terribly. Me, if he didn't love her, how could he regret it? Had he cherished her, he wouldn't have let her suffer. This play is nothing but the world's wishful thinking, a fleeting dream before death. Chen Yu froze. Huh? Why do you sound like a nun? At that moment, the stage depicted the woman's first encounter with the man. Hidden behind a curtain, she gazed at him with eyes full of adoration. The man was unaware. Just as Ji Chengzhi would never know that I had liked him for a very, very long time. At 13, I accompanied my father and brother back to the capital for official duties. During the hunting competition, the young man shot a wild goose from the sky with a single arrow, drawing gasps of admiration from the crowd. I too was drawn in by the light in his eyes, unable to look away for a long time. But too many people surrounded him. He couldn't see me. He couldn't see a little girl hiding behind her father and brothers, secretly watching him with admiration. After returning to Dingzhou, I was like a different person. Blisters formed on my hands one after another, yet I refused to put down my bow and arrows. Even my brother teased me. Before, whenever I asked you to shoot, you'd either complain about your wrist hurting or say the bow was too heavy. How come after one trip to the capital, you're suddenly determined to draw your bow and shoot eagles? I pounded him playfully as I lied. I saw how skilled the archers in the capital are. I want to win the next competition. But that wasn't it. A girl's heart is wrapped in layers, hiding its deepest secrets in the most hidden place. I just wanted Ji Chengzhi to see me. But though I mastered archery, I never got to compete at the hunting grounds again. War erupted at the frontier, and the fighting dragged on for 3 years. At 16, I came of age and finally returned to the capital, only to find my father and brothers gone forever. The Empress Dowager arranged my marriage, caring for me, an orphan daughter, as a way to honor the fallen soldiers. She presented me with a long list of names. Yet only 3 characters caught my eye. Ji Chengzhi. Chengzhi once served as His Majesty's companion in studies. I've watched him grow up. He favors gentle and virtuous women most, she remarked with a smile. Gentle and virtuous? Those words didn't apply to me at all. My father and brothers had spoiled me rotten, they'd pluck stars from the sky for me if I asked. As the sole daughter of the general's household, I'd been raised utterly pampered. But if Ji Chengzhi liked it, I could change. For 3 months, I followed palace matrons, learning to restrain my temper, speak softly and delicately, and become a gentlewoman. The marriage was arranged swiftly. The Empress Dowager said Ji Chengzhi had agreed readily. My heart leapt with joy. The night before our wedding, I lay awake all night, rehearsing everything I wanted to tell him. I wanted to tell him I was skilled at managing a household. I'd always handled the general's manners affairs well, he could rest assured. I wanted to tell him I'd become quite adept at archery now, striking the bullseye from 100 paces, never bringing him shame. I wanted to tell him I could brew many kinds of wine and make all sorts of pastries. When we grew tired from archery, we could sit together and sip osmanthus wine. I wanted to tell him I'd taught myself the law, could play the zither, and paint. I could even paint his portrait, so marrying me wouldn't be too dull. I wanted to tell him that I'd actually loved him for a very long time, and marrying him truly made me overjoyed. But on our wedding night, I never saw him. The steward received the bride on his behalf, solemnly informing me that the Minister of Justice had urgently left the city with Yu Yinyin, as she'd uncovered crucial clues to an old injustice against the Yu family. I insisted on waiting, sitting alone all night. Red candles burned down and were replaced. He didn't return until noon the next day. "I'm sorry," he said, sitting across from me. "You could have slept. You didn't need to wait for me." He explained that when the Ji family faced disaster years ago, Magistrate Yu had saved his life. He'd promised to care for Yu's daughter and agreed to grant her 3 wishes. Yu Yinyin's first request was for Ji Chengzhi to clear her father's name. I nodded. I understood. Yet somehow, after that long, lonely night, all the words I'd rehearsed for so long vanished, and I couldn't speak them. After that, Ji Chengzhi remained as busy as ever. He had no time for me, so I ground ink for him, brewed his tea, held his umbrella at the crossroads after his shift, finding every possible way to linger a moment longer. Yet he would say, "Su Yan, leave these tasks to the servants. You needn't do them." But without these excuses, I didn't know how else to draw near him. I treasured his days off immensely, preparing for them days in advance. But when the day finally came, Yu Yinyin would always effortlessly call him away. Today it was new evidence, tomorrow she felt unwell, or even her pet dog fell ill, she always found a reason to seek him out. I would watch their backs disappear together from the Ji residence, wanting to follow but unable to move my feet. I was his wife, yet it felt as though I wasn't. We lived under the same roof, yet we were more like polite, distant strangers. He was too busy, his heart too full to spare any room for me. In the 3rd year of our marriage, the Yu family's wrongful conviction was finally overturned. I was just as happy. I thought he would finally be free from the burden of gratitude, able to spend more time at home, able to look at me more. That day happened to be the 7th night. In Great Xia, it was traditional for families to paint fans for each other. Rarely feeling this happy, I personally took my maidservant out shopping. But at the corner fan shop, I saw Ji Chengzhi and Yu Yinyin sitting across from each other. They were painting fans. The woman raised her fan, smiling sweetly, while the man curved his lips in a nod. They looked like a perfect couple. For 3 years, he never once painted a fan with me. The fan I painted for him, he never once used. I thought he was too busy, or simply didn't enjoy such things. But it turns out he could make time for others, he just didn't like doing these things with me. The facade of virtuous propriety was torn asunder in that instant. Rage surged through me. I lunged forward, splashing a cup of tea over Yu Yinyin's head and slapping her hard across the face. Fan paintings are for family to create together. Who do you think you are? How dare you paint with my husband? My eyes reddened, my composure shattered. I raised my hand again, only for Ji Chengzhi to seize my wrist with brutal force. "Su Yan, that's enough," he growled. "Let's go home." That day, I followed silently behind him. Not once did he look back. "You misunderstood. She has no family left. She simply wanted me to paint a fan with her. That's all. Don't cause a scene like this again." He said I should apologize to Yu Yinyin. I replied, "I refuse." He froze. "Su Yan, what did you say?" I enunciated each word, "I refuse. And it is absolutely impossible." In the end, we parted on bad terms. He swept his sleeve and left. I lifted my head for a long, long time only to feel a tear slip from the corner of my eye. He seemed to have forgotten, or perhaps never remembered. Yu Yinyin wasn't the only one without family. I had no family either. He was all I had left, the only one. News of that day spread quickly throughout the capital. Whenever I ventured out, I could hear people's mocking remarks, whether intentional or not. She actually caused a scene in the street just because her husband painted a fan with someone else. The Minister of Justice's reputation is utterly ruined by her. By the time the title "the capital's most jealous wife" reached my ears, I hadn't ventured outside for ages. I never had many friends here to begin with. Ji Chengzhi came to see me again because Yu Yinyin had proposed a second matter. She wished to marry into our household as a secondary wife. By then, we had been in a cold war for 3 months. She was once a slave. Though the Yu family's crimes have now been cleared, she has passed the age for marriage. Taking her in would at least give her a place to stay. I stood with my back to him, a bitter smile curling my lips. Since you've already decided, why bother asking my opinion? If I say no, would you even listen? He paused. You are the mistress of this house. When she enters, she will kowtow to you. Even if I petition the emperor for a decree granting her co-wife status, it would be nothing more than a title. Nothing in this household would change. Is that so? But I will change. Or rather, I already have. I've become someone who lies awake night after night. The nights stretch endlessly, and I can't wait for dawn. All I can do is keep drawing, sketching one portrait after another of Ji Chengzhi in his youth. By the end, I couldn't even tell if I loved the phantom in the painting or the cold, distant man in reality. I miss my father and brothers. I miss Dingzhou. I'll sit and cry without warning, or suddenly lose control and smash things in a fit of rage. When I do manage to sleep, I dream of the soldiers who died on the battlefield. They tell me, "Miss, we miss the osmanthus wine you brewed. Will you come keep us company?" I knew I was ill. But I dared not let Ji Chengzhi know, fearing he would despise me even more. I knew I had taken the wrong path, yet it seemed there was no turning back. Clang! The scene changed on stage. The woman ran, the man pursued. Qingyu exclaimed excitedly, "Quick, look! Young. It's time to chase the wife. Let's make this dog of a man suffer." But I felt no interest in watching. I rose and stepped into the corridor for air. A shadow fell across my vision. Coincidentally, it was someone I knew. "Miss Song," he bowed, "Lord Ji requests your presence." I recognized this shadow guard. His name was Ji. I paused silently. What if I don't wish to go? Ji shifted uneasily. Just a few words. I beg Miss Song to grace us with her presence. Is my face some worthless trinket? Your master says grace, so I must grant it. If I refuse, will you arrest me? Ji froze, incredulous. You. Ji. Footsteps approached from behind. Miss, you misunderstand. I merely wish to ask a few questions regarding the case involving your aunt and younger sister. I turned with a cold laugh. Your Excellency handles countless matters daily, yet you concern yourself with such a minor case? I'm truly flattered. But isn't it a bit backward to interrogate me, the victim, instead of questioning the perpetrators? I'd also like to ask, dragging me away against my will in broad daylight? Is this how the Ministry of Justice conducts its business? Silence hung heavy for a moment. I was puzzled, but saw him frozen in place, his fingers trembling slightly as he stared at me, seemingly unable to believe his own eyes. Yu Yan. In 5 years of knowing him, I'd never seen Ji Chengzhi look like this. Then again, who wouldn't be frightened seeing a ghost in broad daylight? I gave a light snort. Please conduct yourself with dignity, Your Honor. I am Song Yang, not your late wife. Have you studied or not? First, you inexplicably send a matchmaker to my door, then you address a woman by her given name. Have you any sense of propriety left? Ji snapped, how dare you speak to an official like that? I retorted, didn't you summon me here to speak? You won't even let a lowly woman speak her truth? Is this the stature and magnanimity of the Minister of Justice? If you won't let me speak, then kindly step aside. I wish to return to the theater. Ji was speechless. Ji Chengzhi said in a deep voice, be quiet. He stepped closer, his gaze fixed on me. I lifted my head to meet his eyes. He exhaled slowly, as if calming the emotions surging within him. Miss Song, there's no need for tension or suspicion, he murmured. Your presence today concerns official business. I've reviewed the case file regarding your concubine and younger sister's attempted murder. The evidence is irrefutable, the crime heinous. By law, they shall receive 100 strokes of the cane followed by exile. However, the incident with the venomous snake occurred 3 days before you reported it to the authorities. You clearly discovered it that very night, why did you not report it the next day? Your Honor, you've adjudicated countless cases. Would you truly make a judgment based solely on a young woman's unverified word? I only captured the venomous snake, but I couldn't prove who had released it. That's why I needed 3 days to find the perpetrator and gather evidence. He pressed further, though the snake was cleaved in two, it bore an arrow wound, a precise shot to its vital point that killed it instantly. I questioned your father, who stated you've never trained in archery, let alone striking such an agile target. He stared at me as if he could bore a hole through me. How did you shoot it? I met his gaze. Humph. What exactly are you implying, Your Honor? That arrow was bought during a previous outing to decorate my home. In a life-or-death moment, one naturally seizes whatever is at hand. As for hitting the mark, it was survival instinct, mixed with a bit of luck. Instead of empathizing with my desperate struggle for survival, you question why the victim didn't die. Truly, after so many years in office, you've lost touch with reality. Silence fell. Ji Chengzhi remained quiet for a moment. You're right. I have nothing more to ask. I turned to leave. Wait. As I passed him, he suddenly reached out. I glanced up in annoyance, only to find his usually cold eyes now veiled with a thin film of moisture. Where did you hear the phrase the capital's most jealous woman, Miss Song? I froze, about to speak, but saw him lower his gaze. Regardless of where you heard it. My wife is not a jealous woman. Do not let me hear that phrase again. Only upon returning to the second-floor corridor did I realize my bracelet had fallen. A woman's intimate accessory left behind could easily invite unnecessary trouble. I turned back to search for it, but then heard Ji's voice drifting from a private room. She's well-versed in the law, skilled in archery, and knows how to use outsiders' presence to prevent her father from showing favoritism. That concubine and her younger half-sister also say she's been like a changed person since falling into the water half a year ago. She shows no fear even when meeting officials. She certainly doesn't seem like someone who's been confined to the inner quarters for years, enduring the oppression of her stepmother and half-sisters. But to call her the mistress? I don't think she fits that role. Ji Chengzhi's hoarse voice came through. Why? The mistress is gentle and kind to us. This woman. She's aggressive. After a moment of silence, Ji Chengzhi sighed softly. You know her well? The mistress truly isn't like that. Sir, that alchemist knew you missed her so deeply that he claimed she hadn't passed away, but reincarnated in another's body. You can't let his nonsense. Go searching the entire capital for her. This time, the silence stretched longer. Perhaps. I was wrong. Maybe it was my imagination, but Ji Chengzhi's voice carried a hint of pain. She truly never looked at me with that kind of gaze. But if I don't tell myself she's still alive, I don't know what to do. The door next door opened. I turned and descended the stairs. The performance was nearing its end. Chenyu sighed regretfully, "You missed the best part. It was truly splendid." I smiled faintly. Missing it is also a kind of fate. Let's return. Chenyu, why do I always feel like you'll turn a corner and head to the temple to become a monk? Hey, I'll tell you, do you know who else was at the tea house today? The Minister of Justice, Ji Chengzhi. Ever since his wife passed, he's even sent his secondary wife to live at his country estate. Countless noble ladies are desperate to marry him as his main wife. Too bad he wasn't here today, don't you think that's a shame? I stared at her. You regret it? She nodded. You, stay completely away from him, I said earnestly. His birth date clashes with yours and mine. Meeting him once could mean minor losses like money or beauty for us, but major ones could mean losing our lives or being cursed for a lifetime. Chenyu was terrified. Good heavens! No wonder you never join our talks about him. Such a plague of a man, we must steer clear from now on. A soft cough sounded behind us. I recognized it, but didn't turn around. I simply pulled Chenyu along and walked away. July arrived within days. At night, the rivers of the capital floated with sacrificial lotus lanterns. The streets were bustling with excitement. Song Chu and I went out together, but we were soon pulled aside by fellow scholars from the Academy for Poetry and Wine. I took the paper boat inscribed with Song Young from my sleeve, placed it inside a purchased lotus lantern, and set it adrift on the riverbank. Last night, Song Yang entered my dreams. Thank you, sister, for fulfilling my earthly wish. I must depart now. Tomorrow night, would you light a lotus lantern to see me off? As the lantern drifted farther and farther away, my heart grew heavy with sorrow. My mind was unsettled as I left, my feet unsteady, and I nearly slipped into the river. Careful! The moment my body was firmly caught, I caught the familiar scent of orchids. Slap! I pushed him away. Sorry, Ji Chengzhi stared blankly at his empty hands. I just saw you about to fall. There are many ways to save someone. We're not close, and I'll be marrying soon. Next time, please mind your boundaries, just a hand would suffice. He nodded, lowering his gaze, then picked up the lotus lantern by his feet and placed it in the river. Inside was a small boat. Engraved upon it, my wife, Su Yan. But somehow, this lotus lantern of his, barely bobbing a few times, began to sway and capsized. Of course. My soul is right here. Where else could he possibly send me? Has the person you worship ever appeared to you in a dream? He suddenly asked. I looked at him, utterly baffled. She never once came to me in dreams. See? Now even my lotus lantern refuses to accept her. He spoke to himself. I always felt she wasn't truly dead. I consulted every master and mystic I could find. They all said they couldn't locate her soul. Some claimed she was still alive, I saw her body laid out myself. Others said she. He fixed his gaze on me. Reincarnation through another body. Have you heard of it? Me, my lord, perhaps we should not speak of such frightening things tonight. Beware of encountering ghosts if you walk the night paths too often. Like now. He fell silent. When you nearly fell into the water just now, I actually thought of her. She once fell into the water herself. Coincidentally, she knew everything except swimming. But that time, I misunderstood her, thinking she deliberately wanted to keep me. I remember that day. He'd been swamped with official duties. To make him a bowl of lotus seed soup to clear heat, I went to the lake to pick lotus seeds and accidentally fell in. He was supposed to go out with Yu Yinyin that day, but he stayed behind and cared for me for 3 days. Yet just as I was drowning in that fleeting warmth, he looked at me and said one sentence. Mid-year is busy, official duties are numerous. The Empress Dowager instructed me to take good care of you, but next time, don't resort to such methods. In that instant, I felt as though I'd fallen into an ice cellar. From that day until my death, I never sought him out for illness again. I deeply regret it, he says now. The person is already dead. Your regrets, sir, should be written on lotus lanterns, not shared with strangers. I turn to leave. Are you truly not her? His voice suddenly echoes behind me. I look back. Sir, you're beginning to speak nonsense. Perhaps you should seek treatment for your hysteria? He steps closer, his eyes bloodshot. I know I've done many wrongs in the past. I didn't know how to cherish. I was a bastard. She could hate me, resent me, anything. But why abandon her own life? Everyone says you changed drastically 6 months ago. The day you fell into the water was the same day she died. You look exactly like her. There must be a connection between you and her, right? He opened his palm, revealing the peach blossom gold bracelet I'd lost that day. You like peach blossoms? What a coincidence. I met his bloodshot, pleading eyes and heard my own calm voice. My lord, you jest. Peach blossoms are beautiful, many admire them. They aren't something one person can claim exclusively. Surely your wife isn't the only one who can appreciate them? He froze. You see, time had erased even his own words from that year. Before the imperial decree arrived, Yu Yinyin grew impatient and insisted on entering the estate as a concubine. I couldn't force myself to accept her with the magnanimity of a mistress. So when she deliberately broke the 3 peach blossom hairpins Ji Chengzhi had given me, I punished her by making her kneel in the snow for 3 hours. I still remember that day when Ji Chengzhi returned, picked her up, and was seething with anger. It's just a hairpin. As the daughter of a general, with your father and brothers devoted to the nation, how can you show such disregard for human life? I replied calmly, it was your birthday gift to me. 1 peach blossom hairpin each year, a gift I only received on my birthday. She broke the hairpin unintentionally, but you tormented her deliberately. In the Ji household, even the mistress cannot act on whim. Should this happen again, you shall face the family's discipline. That night, I stood by the gate all night long, watching the 3 broken pins get buried layer by layer under the snow until not a trace remained. Later, he gave an identical peach blossom hairpin to Yu Yinyin. She wore it when she came to pay her respects to me, smiling sweetly and saying, I originally thought it would be inappropriate for a concubine to wear a peach blossom hairpin when the mistress does. But my husband said peach blossoms are beautiful, loved by many, they aren't meant for one person alone. After that, I never wore the peach blossom hairpin again. Now, gazing into his eyes, I heard my own calm voice, Your Excellency thinks I've changed drastically. That's because you've never died. Try dying once yourself. Perhaps you'll change even more than I have. He froze. Death. But I told her nothing would change. Why did she insist on drinking that poisoned wine? Why indeed? That day, he was preoccupied with seeking the concubine's imperial decree, unaware that Yu Yinyin had taken advantage of my illness to remove the servants from my courtyard. She had arranged for a man to assault me, seeking to pin the crime of adultery upon me. Yu Yinyin knew how to kill with words. The man she sent had once served in Dingzhou under my father and brother. Had he not sacrificed himself to save the trapped 500 men, my father and brother would never have died. But during his military service, his wife was dishonored and nearly took her own life. It was Yu Yinyin who saved her. Kneeling, he pleaded, Lady, I know I've wronged you. In the next life, I'll serve you as ox or horse to repay my debt. But in this life, I must repay my wife's kindness. He loved his wife more than himself, so he willingly became Yu Yinyin's pawn, offering himself as repayment. Even if he committed adultery with me, he would surely die. So why bother? Why sacrifice another life? Especially one saved by my father and brothers. Truthfully, I'd long sought release, yet cowardice held me back, fearing my father and brothers would scold me to death if I went down. But if it was to save a soldier they'd once saved, surely they wouldn't blame me, right? You don't have to die. Just wait a little longer. I'll grant your wish. I heard my own voice. Me too. So I closed the door, opened the drawer, took out the poison wine I'd prepared long ago, and lay down on the bed. The moment I drank it, I felt a lightness I'd never known before. Why? Why? The man before me gradually began to sob uncontrollably. I watched him calmly. I told you, I'm not your wife. How could I possibly know? I turned away, gazing at the scattered lotus lanterns in the distance. Perhaps she never wanted to live in the first place. Putting on my veil, I walked back out onto the street. Ji Chengzhi remained frozen in place. Soon after, Songchu spotted me and came running over excitedly. Hey! He tilted his head. Yang Yang, why are your eyes all red? Did you cry? Me, I just had a bowl of spicy noodles. He went, oh, then said, come on, come on. They're selling stinky tofu over there. Big brother will take you to try it. After buying the stinky tofu, Songchu got pulled away again to drink. I was about to head back when a fire performance started on the street. People surged forward, and I lost my balance. The stinky tofu I just bought flew right out of my hands. It landed squarely on the lapel of a young gentleman in fancy robes. Me. Meeting Ji Chengzhi really does bring bad luck. I'm so sorry. I hurried forward, but it felt awkward to just wipe it off his clothes. I didn't hold it steady and stained your fine garment, sir. Silence hung heavy for a moment. I looked up to find him staring at me. He was quite handsome, even ethereal, you might say, but I had no recollection of him. Shall I compensate you with some silver? Only then did he sigh, ah. He fanned himself with his folding fan. This fabric is exquisite. Once stained, it won't wash out. You likely couldn't afford to pay for it. Name your price. 10,000 taels. Me, you're trying to scam me? I'm calling the authorities. No, 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 he grabbed my arm. Meeting tonight is fate. How about you join me for a drink over there? I'll forget about this. I scoffed, flirting? Sorry, but your clothes aren't worth a drink with me. He looked wounded. How can you say that? My mother made this robe herself, it's Suzhou silk. I'm not lying, it really is impossible to clean. I wanted to drink with you because I fell for you at first sight. I'm an honest, straightforward man, how could genuine feelings be called flirting? I'm so hurt. Great, now he's bragging about himself. I cut him off quickly, sir, spare me the nonsense. This Suzhou silk is tricky to clean, but it's not impossible. I have a way to get it spotless and return it to you. That way we're even, how about it? He pondered for a moment before reluctantly agreeing, fine. But I'm unfamiliar with the capital. You'll likely need to accompany me to a tailor's shop to change clothes before I can return yours, he added plaintively. Since I was at fault, this request wasn't unreasonable. So I followed him to the tailor's. The owner was in the back room, helping him change while making small talk. Your accent doesn't sound like you're from the capital. Visiting relatives? Right, he said lazily. My uncle was transferred to the capital 6 months ago as a compiler in the Hanlin Academy. My mother is in Bingzhou. I haven't seen her in ages and miss my eldest sister. When she heard I was coming to the capital, she asked me to bring some things. The Song family residence? The shopkeeper chuckled. It's been quite the spectacle lately. Their legitimate daughter dragged the concubine-born daughter and her mistress to the authorities. Half the capital knows about it. Oh. Is that so? The shopkeeper then began embellishing the tale, recounting how I single-handedly slew a venomous serpent and then coiled it around my half-sister's neck, forcing her to kneel and beg for mercy. Me. Rumors, indeed. Passed from person to person, they can be terrifying. Though Mother Song did mention it a while back, that a cousin from the Lu family was coming. His name was Lu Ziheng? When I gave birth to you, I even made a promise with your aunt to betroth you to Ziheng as children. But 8 years ago, your aunt wrote saying he insisted on breaking off the engagement for some reason. So we let it be. Who'd have thought that unreliable-looking boy would go on to become the top scholar in the imperial exams, then climb the ranks step by step? At such a young age, he's already the prefect of Dingzhou. Though he does act rather eccentric, back then, His Majesty offered him a post in the capital, but he refused, insisting on going to that remote Dingzhou instead. Mother Song added wistfully, still, if you could marry him, knowing his background inside out, it would actually be quite ideal. Fair is fair. Lu Ziheng truly is a suitable match. Bearing the name Song Young, I cannot remain unmarried forever. Marrying Lu Ziheng would not only allow me to leave the capital and escape Ji Chengzhi, but also grant me the legitimate right to accompany him back to Dingzhou. A man who falls for a stranger at first sight like him must have countless women vying for his attention. Securing a divorce should be no trouble. I want to return to Dingzhou. I want to go home. For me, this is the best possible outcome in this life. At that moment, Lu Ziheng emerged. Taking the garment, I shifted my demeanor completely, lowering my gaze and speaking submissively. I overheard the shopkeeper's words about the Song family's young lady earlier. Please, young master, do not take them at face value. He raised an eyebrow. Oh. How coincidental. Are you acquainted with the Song family's young lady? I nodded, my face hidden behind the veil, unflustered as I praised her. That Miss Song is exceptionally beautiful, gentle, and virtuous. She handles matters with care. Most importantly, she said that when she marries, she will be a devoted wife and mother, prioritizing her husband's family above all else. She will never stand in the way of her husband taking concubines and will gladly support his romantic pursuits. I see, Lu Ziheng murmured, a faint smile playing on his lips. She truly is magnanimous. Not only that, I continued, she's an exceptional cook, skilled in playing the zither, painting, brewing wine, and composing poetry. Even this laundry method, I learned it from her. He marveled, oh, a true polymath. That's why we often sigh, wondering which fortunate young master will marry such a remarkable woman. If you encounter her, young master, you must seize the opportunity. We had just reached the street corner. Knowing when to stop, I parted ways with Lu Ziheng, agreeing to return the clothes here in 3 days. The thought that I might return to Dingzhou someday lifted my spirits. I didn't notice the 2 pairs of eyes fixed on me from behind. I thought I'd exhausted all topics with Ji Chengzhi last night. Yet the very next day, I encountered him again at the Song residence. I apologize for the previous disturbances, he said. Father Song was extremely nervous, nearly kneeling before the Minister of Justice. Ji Chengzhi's gaze shifted to me. I caused Miss Song much inconvenience before. Might I have the honor of inviting you to a simple meal? Me, the disturbance was indeed a disturbance, the inconvenience was indeed inconvenient. As for the honor, I'll pass. I hope to never cross paths with the Minister of Justice again, in life or death. He insisted, it will be the first and last meal. Father Song, yes, yes. Yes, yes. Rest assured, we will attend the banquet. Me. Fine. The last meal. Just the last meal. He smiled, my wife used to adore Dingzhou's stinky tofu. I've brought a chef from there to prepare it fresh on the spot. Then let's set it for the day off in half a month. After bowing and scraping to see Ji Chengzhi off, Father Song immediately turned. Song Yang, are you stupid? You let go of such a golden opportunity with the Chief Justice's wife and actually accepted his invitation? Heaven! Will my official hat even stay on? If you're so clever, why don't you just fly to the heavens? Ah! Mother Song, however, remained calm, but I don't think Ji Chengzhi is suitable. He clearly sees Yang Yang as a shadow of his late wife. What good is marrying into wealth and prestige? Father Song clutched his chest, a woman's perspective. Isn't wealth and prestige enough? Do you also demand a man's true heart? Do men even have true hearts? That single sentence silenced both Mother Song and me. What's all the commotion? What are Uncle and Auntie discussing? A lazy voice suddenly cut in from the doorway. I looked up and froze. Mrs. Song had already risen, smiling warmly. Yang Yang, come meet your cousin. He arrived last night, but it was late, so we didn't tell you or chewer. Lu Ziheng gave a slight nod. Cousin. This composed demeanor was a stark contrast to his behavior last night. It's been so many years. The last time you two met was 8 years ago, on your journey back to Bingzhou from the capital, Aunt Song said with a smile. Yes. He shifted the topic. Were Uncle and Aunt just discussing my cousin's marriage? Aunt Song replied, indeed. Yang Yang is certainly of marriageable age now. He maintained his smile. While strolling through the capital last night, I did overhear people praising my cousin. Aunt, do you recall that in our childhood, my cousin and I were betrothed? Is it too late for me to propose marriage now? Things were progressing a little too smoothly. After leaving the hall, I caught up with Lu Ziheng. You really want to marry me? He paused, unfurled his folding fan, and resumed his carefree demeanor. What? Last night you were so confident. Now that you've gotten your wish, you're scared? I froze. You knew it was me last night? He looked utterly unremarked by it. Yes. We've met before. Your brain's not so sharp, so you don't remember. But mine is sharp enough to remember you. The moment I saw you last night, I recognized you. It finally clicked. So. Last night, you recognized me but pretended not to, just to laugh at me? Well. What are you doing? I shook my dripping wet hands and looked at him, his face hidden beneath his soaked clothes. Since that's the case, wash it off yourself. You really have a temper. You haven't changed a bit. You're the one with the temper. I turned and walked away. Yang Yang. I glared back. We're not close. Don't call me so familiarly. There are no snake sellers in the capital. Where did your half-sister get that snake? My footsteps halted. I turned back, staring at him in disbelief. He adjusted his damp clothes over his arm and shoulder, then walked over leisurely, lowering his voice. A woman like Songshi, confined to her inner chambers, would never find a place to buy poisonous snakes unless someone deliberately sought her out. That Lady Naylin is wicked, but if she truly consorted with that physician daily in broad daylight, she'd be far too bold. Why did physician Zhang vanish precisely when Songshi committed her crime? Was that child-terminating powder truly what he administered to your uncle? I hear Lady Naylin still cried out her innocence on the exile road. It's a pity the child in her womb is gone, there's no way to verify paternity through blood now. What are you implying? I asked, my voice deepening. He chuckled softly. Don't be nervous, cousin. I'm just curious, when did you begin orchestrating all this? After falling into the water half a year ago, you slowly replaced everyone in the mansion, step by step luring them into targeting you. You engineered everything. They thought they were the masterminds, but the real mastermind was you, the victim. Isn't that right? With such audacity, weren't you afraid Dr. Zhang would return and expose you? I sneered coldly. My cousin, you're truly impressive. In just one night, you uncovered so much. The Ministry of Justice is truly missing out without you. But then, why do you think I chose that physician? He raised an eyebrow. Why? I stepped closer. Because that Dr. Zhang, like you, isn't just a womanizer, he's also a meddler. People like that have the most vulnerabilities. He did indeed have an affair with Lady Lan. The evidence I hold is enough to lock him up for life. As for whose child she's carrying, does it really matter? Even if everything unfolds as my cousin predicted, and I did all this myself, and Lady Lan is carrying my father's child. What then? Will you turn me in? He curled his lip. I don't chase after women. I told you, it was love at first sight with you. Besides, why think so badly of me? I'm just looking out for you. Worried about leaving loose ends? If anyone's still out there, I'll help you take care of them. Like, his eyes flashed, Auntie Lan and Song Shi. They accidentally met their end on the road 10 days ago. What do you mean? He spread his hands. See? Free content on WeChat official account, hubba. More now, I've got leverage over you too. I fell silent for a moment. We barely know each other. Why would you do this for me? I told you it was love at first sight. This just proves it. See? I'm sharp, I won't betray you, and I'm not bad-looking. Wouldn't I make a decent husband? 100, 1,000 times better than that wooden block at the Ministry of Justice? Me. If you still don't trust me, how about a deal? You make me some osmanthus wine, and I'll sell myself to you. Whomever you tell me to kill, I'll kill. Isn't that a fair trade? My mouth twitched. I think you're a little off. He nodded. Maybe. Been this way for a while. No wonder Song's mother called him eccentric, he really doesn't seem quite right. I considered it, no need for killings. If you want a deal, I prefer doing business with smart, straightforward people. I need to use our marriage as a cover to go to Dingzhou. You name the terms. Once there, we'll divorce. Marriage is free, and we'll go our separate ways. The Song family was quite pleased with my marriage to Lu Ziheng. After all, it was considered a step up for them. Lu Ziheng was peculiar. In this deal, he seemed genuinely without ulterior motives, just wanting a bottle of osmanthus wine. I pondered it and concluded it could only be the him from 8 years ago, who truly fell for Song Yang at first sight. Thinking of this, I actually felt a bit sorry for him. His beloved had passed away. The one he thought was her was merely a lonely soul, me, occupying her shell. With this thought, I found myself treating him with much more warmth. The Ji household sent word that Ji Chengzhi had urgent business on his day off, so our meal would have to be postponed. During my time at the Ji residence, he broke his promises to me more times than I could count. I'd long grown accustomed to it, and now his absence was more than welcome. Lu Ziheng, however, found any excuse to visit me. Today he'd bring a little sugar figurine, tomorrow a miniature folding fan, and the day after that he'd come to check on my winemaking progress. Coincidentally, everything he gave me were things I'd loved before I was betrothed. One day, he mysteriously announced he'd take me to a fun place. I guarantee you've never been there. It turned out to be an auction hidden within a theater. The items up for bid were quite intriguing, ancient, long-lost musical scores, manuscripts by renowned poets. I was engrossed in the viewing until a painting was brought out, and I froze. Ladies and gentlemen, please look this way. This is a brushwork by our great General Su, commander of the frontier. The scroll slowly unfolded, it was truly father's handiwork. Legend has it that after his wife's passing, General Su fell for a maiden in Dingzhou. He painted this peach blossom scene to win her heart. As everyone knows, General Su was invincible in battle. Whoever acquires this painting will surely gain the maiden's favor and find true. No. Not true. Nonsense. Smack! Before the word gossip could leave his lips, my teacup flew through the air, knocking the speaker flat on the floor. I rose, eyes red-rimmed, body trembling. General Su gave his life for the nation. His late wife was the only woman in his life. Yet you dare defame him with this painting. Crash! From the next room, someone seemed to have knocked over a teacup. Who dares cause a disturbance here? The man on the platform roared, "Guards! Remove her! I dare anyone to lay a hand on me." Lu Ziheng radiated icy fury, instantly rising to shield me behind him. General Su was a great hero of the Xia dynasty. His Majesty decreed that anyone who slanders the general shall be executed immediately. The entire hall fell silent. Everyone present today, you sit here sipping tea, buying paintings, and passing judgment on this and that. Is it not thanks to General Su and his soldiers risking their lives that you enjoy these privileges? How dare you, basking in these comforts, slander our dynasty's heroes without cause? The crowd stirred, voices rising in agreement. Indeed! We must not slander our dynasty's heroes. The young master and lady speak the truth. The speaker on the platform stubbornly retorted, "How dare you call it slander? Peach blossoms are naturally beloved by women. For a great general like Su Heng to take pleasure in painting them, if not for the woman he admires, then for whom else could it be?" Of course. I blurted out urgently. For his daughter. Lu Ziheng suddenly declared. The entire hall fell silent. He turned to me, his voice soft. Is that right? Yes. I fought back the stinging in my eyes. He painted for his daughter. She adored peach blossoms, but in Dingzhou, they always bloomed late and faded quickly. Though he couldn't paint, he learned specifically to capture peach blossoms, so his daughter could see them whenever he was away at war. So that's why. Even a general has tender feelings for his daughter. Apologize. Apologize to General Su. The shouts from below grew louder and louder. Seeing this, the man on stage panicked and quickly knelt toward Dingzhou to apologize, finally calming the crowd's anger. At that moment, Lu Ziheng raised his hand and shook the bell on the table. The entire hall fell silent once more. Everyone understood the bell's meaning. He had committed to the painting. No matter the bid, he would outbid anyone to the end. Just then, the theater owner rushed onto the stage. Apologies, the painting is no longer for sale. We're closing. He hurried toward me. Miss, a distinguished guest requests your presence. Inside the room, the aroma of tea filled the air. Looking at the man before me, I couldn't help but feel amused. Lord Ji, you truly remain unchanged. Your skill in forcibly inviting people has only grown since last time. Was that apology you offered that day fed to the dogs, or is breaking one's word simply your principle in life? His eyes were a terrifying crimson. Yinyin, at this point, do you still deny it? Your wife died, yet you refuse to burn paper offerings for her. Instead, you haunt me daily, forcing me to admit I'm your late wife. This way, you can comfort yourself, justify your betrayal of a loyal minister's daughter, and finally breathe easy, is that it? He froze. How could you think that? How could I? How could it be just because? He choked. Su, you don't know. After you died, You mean to say you actually loved Su? Yet while she lived, you ignored her completely, only to become deeply affectionate after her death? No, Su. Let me tell you, I interrupted. Ji Chengzhi, you never truly loved Su Shu. The Ji family, a prestigious clan for 100 years, fell from grace 50 years ago when the emperor grew suspicious. Your parents were implicated in the scandal. Though later exonerated, they didn't live long afterward. The current emperor favors you, but cannot guarantee your loyalty. Thus, your marriage is crucial. The court did not want you to wed into another noble house, fearing your power might grow too great. Marrying the orphaned daughter of a general, a woman with nothing, was the most suitable choice. To the court, it was a test of your loyalty. To you, it was a way to prove your devotion to His Majesty. So you left her be, she had nowhere else to go. She loved you, though you likely found it bothersome, treating her merely as a decorative piece in your home, nothing more. No. His eyes flushed crimson. 5 years of daily companionship, how could I not feel affection for my lawful wife? Only, I was unaware, and I realized it too late. That's why. That's why you only came to your senses after driving her to death? Lu Ziheng, who had remained silent, suddenly spoke up. Ji Chengzhi, I truly despise hypocrites like you. You sought out a secondary wife yourself, drove your own lawful wife to her death, and now you come here putting on the sanctimonious act. It's sickening. Ji Chengzhi's voice was heavy. Lu Ziheng, this doesn't concern you. Yang Yang is my fiancée. You've provoked her time and again, how is that none of my business? Do you think I, her fiancé, am dead? He stepped closer. If you've got the guts, take it out on me. Don't torment a young girl. Lu Ziheng pulled me outside the room. I whispered, this was just a deal between us. He holds a higher rank than you. You don't need to offend him because of me. He ruffled my hair. Have you forgotten what our deal was? You give me a bottle of peach wine, and I give you my life. I froze. His voice softened. Yang Yang. I'll ask you just one thing. Ji Chengzhi, do you hate him? Hate him? The man who trampled my love underfoot, who haunted me even after my death. How could I not hate him? I hate him, I heard my own voice say. I hate him to death. He looked at me. I understand. He turned and went back inside. Clang! I heard the sound of fists striking something. What kind of woman living a good life would keep poisoned wine by her bed? Clang! What kind of woman living a good life wouldn't recognize her own husband? Clang! Ji Chengzhi. Have you ever considered what kind of life you gave her? You deserve to die. You should have died long ago. Fists rained down relentlessly. I listened blankly to the commotion, momentarily forgetting to think. Ji Chengzhi offered no resistance. Haven't you been investigating her death all along? Lu Ziheng's eyes burned crimson. And you call yourself the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Justice. You couldn't even see the kind of person you kept by your side. What are you talking about? Ji Chengzhi wiped the blood from his mouth, his expression blank. You mean Yu Yinyin? I only gave her a place to stay. How could she? Lu Ziheng's fist paused. He let out a cold laugh. No wonder she chose death over relying on you for support. Do you know? The day I learned what that man who fled the Ji residence did, I truly wanted to kill him. But I didn't. I brought him to the capital precisely so you could see with your own eyes what you've done. The painting General Su gave her, you, who betrayed her like this, dared to claim it. Ji Chengzhi stared blankly at him, taking blow after blow. If this continued, someone would surely die. Lu Ziheng. I pushed open the door. Let's go. Yen Yen. Ji Chengzhi saw me and crawled forward a few steps. In front of your courtyard, I planted peach trees everywhere. Next spring, they'll bloom with countless flowers. Your favorite kind of peach blossoms. Come back? Su, he sobbed, tears streaming down his face. Come back. We love each other. From now on, everything will be fine. I took Lu Zihang's hand. Minister Ji, how many times must I tell you? Su Yan is dead. She drank poisoned wine and died in the rear courtyard of the Ji residence. The dead cannot be revived. Stepping out of the theater, I released Lu Zihang's hand. He handed me the painting of my father. The rest are safely stored at the Dingzhou general's residence, guarded by men. This should be the one stolen earlier. I stared at the painting in my hands. Who exactly are you? He looked at me. Your old friend. I don't remember you. You will. Why are you doing all this for me? His voice softened. I told you, it was love at first sight. But I no longer believe in love. It doesn't matter. I believe it, and that's enough. I fell silent for a moment. Aren't you afraid? I looked at him. Song Yang is gone. I'm just a lonely soul attached to her body. A long silence followed. He walked over and gently pulled me into his embrace. I am afraid. Tonight, I went through your drawers and confiscated all the poison and poison wine. Who taught you this bad habit of keeping poisoned wine by your bedside? A long-forgotten sting pricked the corners of my eyes. Lu Zihang. Don't be too kind to me. It frightens me. All right. Then I'll be kind to you little by little. Once we reach Dingzhou, I'll still seek a divorce. All right. I'll do as you say. The air hung heavy in silence for a long while. Lu Zihang. I called his name again. Stay with me. Paint a fan for me. My marriage to Lu Zihang was set for 2 months hence. Qingyu was reluctant to part with me, but seeing my joy, she shared in my happiness. That day, she accompanied me to view wedding gown designs, only to be abducted. This method felt all too familiar. When I found her, I saw Ji. Ji, let her go. Madam. He knelt with a thud. The master is ill. Please go see him, will you? He looked up. There are many things you don't know, madam. The master and Yu Yinyin never consummated their marriage. After you passed, he banished her to the country estate. No matter how much she protested, he refused to see her. She actually made a third demand to be his sole legitimate wife. But he declared you his only wife in this lifetime. Upon learning what she did to you, he flew into a rage, imprisoning her and that man together. Yet he blamed himself for failing to protect you, tormenting himself relentlessly. Truthfully, since your passing, the master's health has steadily declined. Did you know, madam, that he actually traveled to Dingzhou? He personally had that peach tree, the one you loved most, transplanted from the general's residence. He tended it with utmost care, hoping one day you might return to see its blossoms. That day at the auction, he went because he heard there might be a painting by General Su. He went for you. Every painting you ever made, he would stay up night after night just to look at them. The bow and arrows you brought, he would hold them close as he slept. He knew you were taking medicine before you passed away. He understood your suffering. He even disregarded the rumors, hiring alchemists to summon your spirit. Before finding you, he had nearly turned the entire capital upside down. He bowed his head heavily. Madam! The general truly adored you. I looked at him calmly. Ji, have you ever tasted poisoned wine? I asked. He froze, shaking his head. Do you know the sensation of poisoned wine coursing through your veins? Have you ever lain in bed awaiting death? He paused, still shaking his head. Do you know? After my father and brother passed, I swore to them I would live well. But I failed. Within 5 years, I couldn't endure it anymore. I truly couldn't hold on. You say Ji Chengzhi discovered I was taking medicine. He understands the agony I endured before dying, but how could he possibly comprehend it? The despair and helplessness that consumed me day and night, how could any ordinary person grasp that? What do you mean by kidnapping my friend and forcing me to listen to this? To move me? Because I died and he loved me, I should be moved? I shook my head. You're being unreasonable. Clang! The door swung open. It was Ji Chengzhi. Master! Why are you out here? Yinyin, I was wrong. He shoved Ji aside, stumbling forward. I truly was wrong. Forgive me, please. He rushed forward and embraced me. From now on, I'll never let you suffer injustice again. Never. Let go of Yang Yang. Qin Yu, who'd been in the partitioned room, had awakened somehow. She burst out, shielding me like a mother hen protecting her chicks. I don't care who you are. Yang Yang doesn't like you, you can't force her. If you dare take one more step, I'll report you to the authorities. What a brave girl. Her legs trembled with fear, yet she still tried to protect me. I reached up and took the bow and arrow hanging on the wall. I drew the bow. I released the arrow. It struck its mark. Blood instantly gushed from Ji Chengzhi's arm. Sir! I lowered the bow. Ji Chengzhi. This debt you owed Su Yan, this arrow settles it. I pulled Qin Yu to his feet, ignoring his pained gaze, and walked out. Let this be our final parting. Ji Chengzhi never appeared again. Lu Ziheng told me he'd actually spent the past 6 months investigating Yu Yinyin. Regarding the Yu family's wrongful conviction years ago, do you truly believe Yu Yinyin staked everything on Ji Chengzhi? Over the years, to clear the Yu family's name, she's resorted to every possible means, even colluding with numerous aristocratic families and imperial in-laws. And this is precisely what His Majesty fears most. I need only present these unverified rumors to His Majesty, and His Majesty will naturally doubt Ji Chengzhi's loyalty. His Majesty ordered Ji Chengzhi to shut himself away for self-reflection. In plain terms, it was temporary house arrest. Yet I still couldn't recall exactly which old friend Lu Ziheng was. Not until the night the osmanthus wine was ready, when I offered him a cup, did he drink too much. Sobbing, he clung to me, saying he'd longed for this taste for so long. A flash of insight struck me, and buried memories surged back in an instant. 8 years ago, at the hunting grounds, I hadn't only met Ji Chengzhi. There was also a young gentleman who borrowed wine from me. At first, he merely said he was thirsty. Later, he asked for cup after cup. How can you drink so much? I was a bit annoyed. After all, I'd only brought 1 flask and wanted some for myself. Yours. Tastes good, he said, his face flushing. How about this? I'll trade you something for it. What do you say? I snorted. What would you trade? Just then, Ji Chengzhi shot down a wild goose in the sky. The crowd cheered, and I stood on tiptoe to get a better look at him. I didn't notice at all that the handsome young gentleman beside me was watching me. I'll trade you anything, he whispered. Even myself. You liar, you promised an exchange. His eyes were drunkenly accusatory. I wanted to see you, to marry you. So I studied like mad to become the top scholar, but I was still too late. You were betrothed to him. So you went to Dingzhou because... Yes. That place. It's your home. I wanted to protect it. Whenever you wanted to come home, you could. He lifted his head, his eyes like a startled deer fixed on me. Yen Yen. Let's go home. My wedding to Lu Ziheng was set for after the autumn examination results were announced. Song Chu had unexpectedly placed second. The entire Song household was ablaze with celebration. The night before the wedding procession, I asked Mrs. Song if she still wished to leave this place. She froze. Where would I go? Now that you've married well and Chuer has passed the exams, where could I possibly go on such a blessed day? Don't you miss that Gu lad anymore? The childhood sweetheart she thought of for over a decade. She paused. Why would I miss him? Since that was the case, I could finally tell her the truth. He claimed back then that he was forced to leave and vowed lifelong celibacy for your sake. But in truth, he quickly married and had children, took 2 concubines, fathered 5 children, and with the money your maternal grandfather gave him, he lives quite comfortably in Dongzhou. Oh, she nodded. Truthfully, I don't quite remember what he looked like anymore. Come help me see if this will do for tomorrow? On my wedding day, the ones who cried the hardest were Qin Yu and Song Chu. In the bridal chamber, Qin Yu's eyes were brimming with tears. I hesitated. I don't care who you really are. I just want you to be happy. She stared at me. Young Yang, does he treat you well? Yes, very well. Very, very well. I nodded. She hugged me tightly and burst into loud sobs. You must be happy. I held back for a moment, but finally blurted out, you and my brother. Ah. How did you find out? She was utterly shocked, her tears vanishing in her fright. Me. Never mind. Song Chu may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's trying to improve and is obedient now. If he ever mistreats you, write me a letter. I'll kill him. Her sobs grew louder. The auspicious hour arrived. Dressed in wedding attire, I stepped into the bridal sedan chair. The wedding procession reached the outskirts of the capital, where we would change horses to travel to Dingzhou. Lu Ziheng asked me, want to ride in the carriage? I shook my head. Let's ride horses. It's faster. As I mounted my horse, I heard frantic hoofbeats behind me. Someone was screaming my name, their voice torn with anguish. Yen. Please. Don't go. But I was already too far away for him to catch up. Lu Ziheng must have heard too. He turned and smiled at me, husband? Race? Let's see who's faster. I smiled back, sure, as if anyone would lose. Then wager a bottle of osmanthus wine. You're on. 2 horses shot forward with a whoosh. I heard my own laughter. Father. Brother. Truthfully, I didn't know if I could ever love again. But this young master. He'd waited so long for me, and was willing to wait longer still. I thought, I'll try again. The story ends here. Thank you for watching. The next chapter will be even more exciting.